I think we're ready. All right. So, welcome to Cooking with Kat and Steph. We had some technical difficulties, so thank you for bearing with us. We are going to make ham and bean soup this evening. You can do this out of a can and heat it up and blend it, and we'll talk about that the closer we get to it being ready. So I'm going to get started with heating my pan here. And please, if you have questions, let us know as they come up so that we can answer them. All right, so to start, we're going to use some onion, celery, carrots. I have some garlic here. We have some chopped ham. And then we're going to use 2 cans of Great Northern beans. You can use dried beans if you want, or you can use canned. Does not matter. It's going to work beautifully either way. Mm-hmm. So I also have a couple of herbs here, some thyme, and a bay leaf that I'm going to throw in there. So let's, as this is, oh gosh, breaking stuff. Sorry. Some oil to our pan. And I have my burner at about a little over medium, closer to medium high. And we're going to keep a pretty close eye on it.
I don't know what that means. Don't do that.
Technical difficulty. Okay.
That's all right. I'm going to check it.
We will figure it out. Okay. So, pan is getting hot. The first thing I'm going to add is my onion. Just make sure the oil is covering the bottom of the pan. Perfect. Okay, onions in. I'm going to grab a wooden spoon to stir, and I am going to turn this down just a touch so that our onions don't burn, because there's nothing worse in your food than burned onions. All right.
It is not burning. It is not burning.
It is. I saw it on.
You did. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry guys, we're just trying to figure out our planning and learning how Facebook is working sometimes. So, and if I move it just a little bit, I can see comments. So, I think we're good. Okay. So, just gonna let our onions go a little bit farther. Onions the term is either sauteing or sweating. We don't want to heat them too high because we don't want it to burn. We just want them to get translucent. So the next thing I'm going to add is my celery and my carrots. Anytime I'm making almost anything, I add onion, celery, and carrots. And we always add more onion than we add celery and carrots.
Is mine on it? This is saying from the start of it. It's the same test broadcast.
And it says it's live. So,
Okay. All right, then.
okay. Because it says it's here. So,
Good.
okay. Sorry. Like I said, we're learning. Facebook always acts a little bit funny. So, all right. Our onions are starting to look translucent. In a restaurant, this is called mirepoix. It's a French term. It's just carrots, celery, and onions. So I'm going to add my carrots, and I'm going to add most but not all of my celery because I had a little bit too much. And then I'm gonna add my garlic towards the end of this process. I call it the end, but it's right before we add everything else. So turn this down just a little bit farther. And the whole point of this is to get our vegetables soft. We want to get them soft because then the flavor will come out and infuse the broth that we're gonna add. And of course it's easier to puree if our veggies are soft. So then we're gonna add 2 cans of beans and we're gonna strain these beans before we add them. I'm not sure how to use your can opener actually.
Oh.
It's a fancy one, or a not fancy one. Let's see. All right, so I have my broth. So anytime I make soup, these are always my first 3 ingredients. And I know in Cajun or Creole cooking, we don't use carrot. We add bell pepper instead, and we call it the Holy Trinity.
That is
correct?
That is absolutely accurate.
So, of course, that was something I learned in culinary school all those years ago, because you don't want the carrot in those flavors. It's much too sweet. So maybe at some point we'll get Stephanie to make us something delicious. I don't know.
And Cajun?
And Cajun.
I
Yes.
can make Cajun.
All right. So I'm gonna throw my garlic in now. These are looking nice and soft. I hope you can hear it sizzling. And then I'm gonna turn it down even farther because we really don't want our garlic to burn. Okay. Let's grab a strainer and strain these beans. So one of these is reduced sodium and one of them is regular. If you need to have reduced sodium, buy those. If it's not something you worry about, just get the regular. If you're really worried about the sodium, just rinse them after you drain them. Not a big deal. Okay.
That was accidental.
It was a great teaching moment. It doesn't matter. It's gonna work out great. And if we use the ones with higher sodium, I don't even know how much is in there, to be honest with you. Maybe we just don't add as much salt to our soup. So we'll cover that here in a little bit. I'm gonna strain these beans. And then we're gonna throw them in our pot. Okay. 1 and 2. Just want to get as much of that liquid out of there as possible. Okay. Our mascots are behaving quite well this evening too, so that's wonderful. Okay.
So the link won't work.
Our link doesn't work. Interesting. Okay.
The link.
This might be something that we have to post afterwards. Okay. So I'm gonna toss in my broth now. And for the 2 cans of beans, I'm using a quart of broth, which is 4 cups. pot might be a little too small.
Want a bigger one?
Maybe, yeah. Because I haven't put the ham in yet, and you know, the ham is super important. Okay. We're gonna transfer this into a larger pot because our pot's too small. So, okay. Beautiful, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna throw this ham in here. We're gonna give it a stir. And then I'm gonna turn the temperature back up to medium. And I'm gonna throw in my, so I'm using whole thyme. I'm just gonna throw the stems in as they are because the leaves will fall off the softer it gets, and then we'll just pull the stems out before we puree it. But it's gonna flavor it nicely, so I threw my bay leaf in. And then I'm gonna add just a quick dash of pepper. Okay. So while we're waiting for that to simmer, hopefully I got all my ingredients in there. We wanted to talk a little bit about our broth options. So Stephanie was kind enough to run to the store earlier today, and she picked up 2 different things, and we were quite interested in the differences. So we have just your regular plain old chicken broth, and then she also found bone broth. So what was the cost difference between the broth and the bone broth?
So there was about $1 difference.
Okay, and the bone broth costs about $1 more.
Correct.
Than the chicken broth. So we were checking the nutrition labels out and determined that the bone broth has 10 times the nutrition for the same amount that the regular old chicken broth has. So it's got 10 times the calories and 10 times the protein. So you can see here the calories are at 50, and you can't quite see it, but the protein has 10 grams of protein for 1 cup of broth, whereas the plain old chicken broth for 1 cup has 5 calories and only 1 gram of protein. So yes, this jar only has 23 ounces where this one had 32, so it's almost 10 ounces less, but you don't need to add as much of this if you're trying to thin out your whatever it is you're trying to make. If you're making the soup, if you're making if you're just adding broth to a meat that you're trying to puree, this is going to go a lot farther with a lot less volume, a lot less amount than this will. So this is our go-to for our normal everyday cooking, but I think this might be our new go-to because it's got so much more nutrition for $1 more. So great find today with our grocery store perusing. Nice job, Steph. Okay, so soup coming up to temp. So we were also talking about doing some dessert tonight, right? Yeah. So we like to do dessert because you sometimes need something sweet. So we found some applesauce. I say we. Stephanie found some applesauce. And half a cup has 70 calories, which is pretty darn good. It's got 3 grams of fiber and 17 grams of carbs, which is pretty typical for an applesauce. So what we're gonna do is we are going to take our applesauce, and then we're going to take our other fruit options. So we have pears, we have pineapple, we have peaches, and we have mandarin oranges. So we're going to combine one of these with our applesauce. And we're gonna make some dessert. So this is you can also do this to make breakfast. You can add a protein shake or some protein powder to your dessert to make a nice high protein breakfast as well. So I'm gonna open up this applesauce, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna test the texture and see how it is, because we're gonna put it into the blender anyway, but I wanna see if the texture is going to change after we put it in the blender.
I do too.
It's fairly smooth.
Wow.
Yeah.
We can get it smoother.
I think we can get it smoother in our fancy blend jet. Okay. So, soup coming up to 10. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so Steph, which fruit should we go for? Peaches, oranges, pears, or pineapple?
I say go for, I think the peach will blend the smoothest.
I agree.
So if we want,
And I think the pears, or not the pears, the mandarin oranges will not blend the smoothest.
correct. So I chose all of these for a very specific reason, because pineapple is kind of stringy. I wanted to see how that did.
Yep.
Peaches we know blend extremely smooth.
Yes.
Pears are a little gritty.
Very similar to the apple.
Very similar to apple,
Very
but
high
even
in
more
fiber.
so has little.
It's got more texture
It
to
does
it.
have more texture, even when they're super ripe. There's texture to them.
Always, always,
And
always.
then, of course, mandarin oranges. Who doesn't love mandarin oranges?
The flavor's so good.
But we'll see, because there's all the.
And I have seen people choke on mandarin oranges. Granted, they were very elderly and they shouldn't have been eating mandarin oranges to begin with. But, and of course, those were like fresh, peeled. That was not
Oh, that's different.
canned.
Because these are soaked.
These are soaked and cooked
And
and
citric
soft. So I'm actually curious to see.
You want to try that one?
I kind of want to try the oranges because I want to see how smooth
We can get it.
we can get it.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge. I like a challenge. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so
And the beauty is too, when you buy something like this, so this entire jar of applesauce was probably $2 and some odd cents.
and it's 46 ounces, which is not quite half a gallon, but that's a lot of applesauce.
It's a lot of applesauce, and I think you can, even if you're used to eating baby food applesauce or baby food jars, because it's smoother and that goes down better, for the same amount of money, you're going to get probably 15 times the amount of food out of it.
For sure. Okay, so do we want to do half a cup? What do you think? So we have 2 blend jets, so we can honestly try some different things here.
Here's Kat's new.
I just got this one this last week. Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so I figured I would represent, Okay.
I like it.
And then the always tried and true black.
We have used this.
As you can see,
We
both
have
of
used
us
this like crazy.
are wearing black. We love the color. It's it's always stylish and classy. So, okay. Go for it.
Are we gonna do 2 different?
We can do 2 different. Should we do the pineapple and apple,
Yes.
and then the orange and apple? Okay.
So I am going to put about maybe 2 or 3 ounces.
Okay. And the blend jet has
3 ounces.
some lines here saying how much you can put in there. So we don't even need to get a measuring cup. We can just pour right into this. So, okay. I'm also gonna do 3 to 4 ounces.
I'm gonna add some of the juice also.
I was thinking it's probably a wise decision to add some of the juice. Okay.
So I'm doing 3 mandarin oranges and the juice that goes along with it.
Okay. And the pineapple, of course, has juice as well.
And I did buy the crushed pineapple, just I thought it'd give us a head up.
The crushed pineapple has a lot of texture to it, but it's in juice as well. So we may need to blend this in our blend jet
A little longer.
multiple times. So I'm gonna bring this up to 6-ish ounces with juice, because liquid is your friend.
So I'm sticking with 4.
This crushed pineapple is in pineapple juice, not in syrup. The oranges are in light syrup. I don't know if that's important, but if you need to know. Okay.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it. Oh, mine's off kilter. Hold on. So my blend jet just flashed red, and then it flashed white, which means it's on now. So that looks good. I'm a fan of blend it again, just to be sure. So
I know, but look at that.
It's beautiful. I'm really, really impressed.
I don't know. I can't show you. I'd have to pour it out, but I am going to blend it one more time.
Yep.
It's very smooth already, but it's not going to hurt me to blend it again.
Yeah, this one, I think we're almost there. I'm going to just scrape my sides just a little bit. Okay.
That is really smooth. Very smooth. I'm just going to show you.
All right, our soup is bubbling away, so I'm going to turn it back down a little bit. So this morning for breakfast, I had, beautiful. I took my blend jet and I peeled a couple of oranges and I threw them in there with some water, and then I added a packet of protein powder. And I used the fresh mandarin oranges, and it did not puree them as smooth because they were raw, uncooked. Perfect. Beautiful.
You can't tell that that's...
Wow. And the orange flavor. How many did you put in there?
3.
Oh, wow. So...
But with juice also. Very smooth. Smoothest thing I think we've ever made.
Yeah.
That's how smooth it is.
So this applesauce that we tasted originally, we got even smoother with the blend jet. I like it. Okay. Next. You want to find me another little cup for our pineapple?
I do.
Ooh, an October teacup. Beautiful.
Remember last week we talked about how we got fun?
We want you to serve your food in something pretty because it makes you feel good. Okay, let's do it. This looks kind of chunky still.
It looks a little bit chunkier than...
I'm gonna puree this again while we taste it.
It is.
It's still chunky?
It's not chunky, but I can taste the fibers of the pineapple.
I got one too.
I don't know if this one's gonna get smooth.
And it might not. It might not. It's just the pineapple might just have too much texture to it.
It's very frothy.
It tastes, yeah. pineapple kind of foams. That's a weird word to use, but frothy, foamy. Mm-hmm. We're gonna see how this goes. Do you have any questions yet? Nope. Okay. All right, the soup is boiling beautifully. All right, so I'm just gonna pour a little bit more out onto my spoon. Yeah, there's still a little bit of, so if you can handle a tiny bit of texture, the pineapple's fine. If you can't, don't try the pineapple. You can't even tell this was applesauce, to be honest with you, because the pineapple flavor comes through so strongly. So there's just teeny tiny little pineapple fibers in there. I'm a little bit disappointed because I wanted it to be perfectly smooth, but I don't think it's gonna be. But the orange is just like a little parfait. Like you could mix that with some vanilla yogurt and have it a little parfait, and it would be perfect. Okay, so we're going to rinse out our blend jets. I'm going to taste this soup to see if I need to change the flavor at all. And then we're gonna start blending our soup. I should probably not use the spoon that I had in the pineapple because that might change the flavor just a little bit. Okay. And this is a soup that you can make a couple hours in advance and just let it cook on low for hours. And the longer you cook it, the softer everything is gonna get. And we started with pre-cooked ham. If you throw a ham hock in that's got meat on it and whatnot, it's gonna take a little longer to cook. The flavor's really good. It doesn't need salt. Okay, all right. I did spill. As expected.
I was prepared. So I am a huge fan of pineapple.
I am too.
But this is not smooth.
It looks like it is, but if you cannot handle texture and you feel it in the back of your throat,
I can feel it on my tongue.
I can feel it on my tongue too. The little fibers, I can put them between my teeth and.
So, but the mandarin orange one is as smooth as it can possibly get.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So,
all right.
I recommend that, and I'm certain that the peaches would do the same. We can do that another time.
The peaches will get completely smooth. I think we can get the pears completely smooth.
I think we can too. I think it's the strings in the pineapple.
I agree.
That's the problem.
Pineapple is very fibrous, and it does get that interesting foamy texture. And I'm only getting like one string.
Yeah.
But this is also a tiny spoon, so. And if you can handle just a little bit, you'll be fine. But if you can't, avoid the pineapple. Or use pineapple juice. Okay. So, that was a good experiment. I like that.
Yeah, pineapple juice is a good idea.
Pineapple juice is already smooth. If you want that pineapple flavor, throw it in with some applesauce, put it in your blend jet, and blend it 3 or 4 times, and you'll be...
And you can do multiple flavors. You can do apple, banana.
Apple, banana, cherry, you could do...
Orange. You could do the apple, banana.
Blueberry,
peach.
you can do... you can get some pie filling, and... We tried that last week, so check out our video from last week for the pie filling. Okay. So, soup. Good. Looks delicious. Our time is mostly off of those little stems. I'm gonna rinse my lid here. Okay. And we have this beautiful little cup of pineapple sauce. Pineapple applesauce. Okay. So get yourself some cute little glasses, dishes, bowls, etc., so that you can really just feel good about what you're eating. Okay. All right. Grab a ladle. And I'm gonna start dishing. So we had a request to use celery in our soup because celery is one of those things that is also very fibrous and can be potentially problematic. So we were challenged to see if this blend jet can handle the celery. Okay, so I'm gonna put 6 ounces in here. And safety first. So I have 6 ounces of soup in here. This is steaming. I hope you can see the steam coming off the top here. And I'm gonna say, I both are gonna say this every single time you do this. Anytime you blend something hot, you do not put the lid on all the way because it will create pressure when it starts blending and it will explode and you will get burnt. Do not put yourself in that situation. Okay, so we're gonna put the lid on barely. Now, I'm gonna blend this. I'm guessing I'm gonna have to blend this at least 4 times. So here we go. It did shoot out a little bit at the top. Okay. And the blend jet is nice because it's water resistant. You can't submerge it in water, but if it gets a little bit of water on the outside, it's not gonna hurt it. Okay, actually, Steph, come look at this. I'm gonna do it again before we try it, but that looks pretty good.
I see some little chunks, but I'm impressed that it was...
That's on the first try, so, okay. And I did 6 ounces because 6 ounces is a pretty typical cup of soup serving. A bowl is closer to 12 or 16 ounces. All right, here we go again. Number 2. Woo! It came out the top a little bit that time. That pressure, I'm telling you, hot food creates pressure, so you just got to be careful. Oh, it's because I had the lid on a little tighter than we did last time. That's why. And this cycle runs for about 20 seconds. So I'm gonna taste it. Okay. I think it's there.
Yeah?
Yeah, you wanna give it a... Sorry, it's dripping pretty good. And it's hot.
Oh, it's smooth, and that is tasty.
Yeah.
I can taste the ham.
So, we have another beautiful bowl here. So what else do you taste besides the ham?
Well, the beans, of course.
Beans,
but it's
Okay.
really... There's a little bit of texture in it, actually.
So I should have blended it 4 times.
You were right with the 4. But you know what? It's still smooth. It's not gummy. It's not sticky because
There's enough other things in there, and you can't tell there's celery in it.
no, I definitely can't tell that there's celery. Like I could tell the strings in
The
pineapple.
pineapple?
I cannot tell that there is...
I should have blended it 4 times, maybe 5.
You can pour it back in if you want to. But
I might make a mess.
do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
It's when you just take it to the
Oh,
sink.
see? Cheating. All right, so I turned our soup down to low. And you do not want to get the bay leaf in your blender because that will not blend well and it will just, don't do it. Avoid the bay leaf. Okay.
Oh, just gonna hold it.
Be careful because it'll still. Okay. So you may want to blend your soup 8 or 10 times. It's not going to hurt it.
And it depends on what kind of soup it is.
It does depend on the kind of soup, yes.
So I think this one is probably, oh yeah, it even looks smoother.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, bowl number 2.
This is just
It's just
plain
a
old,
plain old
actually it's a restaurant soup bowl.
from that restaurant we worked in like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
When Stephanie and her husband hired my husband and I.
That one.
Thus beginning this journey.
Yes.
That looks beautiful. You can kind of see it there. Okay. All right.
I want to see the smoothness.
And it's kind of a pretty color.
It is completely smooth.
I'm-
And it's not sticky. It's not, I know when you blend beans, sometimes it can get sticky if
Oh,
you
yeah.
have a lot of
Yeah.
mass in terms of the beans. That's very
Yeah,
smooth.
that's nice.
4 times. Now,
Minimum. You can keep going if you want, but 4 times minimum.
so how long are we on?
We're at 35 minutes, 36 minutes right now.
Okay, so one of the things, not everybody cooks soup from scratch,
Correct.
and that's okay.
It's absolutely fine.
So, very quickly, I'd like to show how you can buy a can of soup, whatever flavor works for you. This is just a chunky chicken noodle soup. Now, if you can't do the noodles, that's fine. You don't have to do a noodle soup. You can choose whatever soup works for
Choose
you.
another option, yes.
But I would like to blend this.
Are you going to blend it cold?
I am.
Okay. We did this a couple weeks back with
It's room temperature.
it is room temperature. It wasn't cold. That's true. Your soup is everything is gonna blend a little bit easier when it's warm, but it doesn't have to be.
Right. But since this is, it's not cold and it's not warm, depending on how you like your food, you can warm it up first. It will probably blend a little better. Look at those chunks of celery.
Yeah, those
There's
look good.
chunks of chicken. There's noodles,
Carrots.
carrots.
My guess is there's probably onion in there. I'm gonna attempt to read the. Yep. Okay.
I'm gonna just pour
Dump
in
it.
some of the
Do
juice.
it. You're probably better at this than I. I'm a little bit messier, I'll admit it.
Okay.
Okay.
So it is room temperature.
I'm excited about this. I'm gonna grab our other cup to pour it in. I'm gonna guess this one's gonna need to go 5 times.
Okay, let's see. Here we go.
Okay.
Blend number 1. I could see the chunks going by.
Yeah, you still kind of can.
It's very liquidy, so it's very soupy. It's soup, which is good. I'm gonna blend another time. It looks actually pretty smooth. I think there was, but I can see it a little bit on the side. So I'm gonna try it again.
Okay. If it's too thin, dig a few more noodles out of here and throw them in there because any starch, so noodles, potatoes, rice, those are our typical ones that we use. Cornstarch, but you don't want to throw cornstarch in there because you got to heat it. Or cornbread, or a slice of bread, whichever. A little bit of bread. Your starch is what thickens.
Or breadcrumbs.
Or breadcrumbs, yes. So The other thing Stephanie thought about today when she was at the store is that you can buy a packet of the mashed potato
Flakes.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought to call them flakes, but and then you add a little bit of this to there, and it will thicken very nicely.
Yes.
You can buy whatever flavor you want because they have all different kinds, right?
And truly, if you buy just a soup that doesn't have noodles because you are gluten-free or you can't have wheat, then that's fine. You can use the potatoes in there.
Okay. Cool.
To fill it. So I'm going to try it first. Okay. It is completely smooth.
After 2 times?
2 times. But honestly, it is kind of thin. I'm going to add a few more noodles without the broth.
Okay.
And do it again.
Okay.
So I'd say about 4 more noodles I've added.
Okay.
Let's do it. And they're probably about to kick us out of Facebook land.
They kick us out at 45 minutes, so we'll try to make it quick.
Looks thicker.
It does look thicker.
You ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Our next pretty little teacup.
Next teacup, it's got peaches on it. Oh, there's chunks.
Oh, there's still a chunk in there. 2 more times.
Go back.
2 more times.
That's because I added the extra.
I know. There was a piece of chicken in there when she added it.
You're right. There was.
So I'm really happy with our soup. And it didn't take us terribly long to make.
Oh, it's very quick.
And I hope you got a couple of tips on making soup that you can utilize if you want to make it from scratch. Otherwise, just use the pan.
Yeah, pick the soup that you like. Warm it up in the microwave and just, again, remember when you are blending warm or hot things, you need to have it vented.
So, also about the blend jet, it says in the instructions or the little guide that you get not to put anything over 120 degrees in there. I did tonight. So the potential problem is that it could ruin the seal. So I just have to keep a close eye on my machine to make sure that I'm not ruining the seal.
Perfectly smooth.
Yeah?
Try it. And it tastes good. Now, I could
Tastes
warm
like
it.
chicken noodle soup.
If it makes you nervous to do it, to warm it first, you can warm it afterward.
You can. That's true. Microwave, stove, whatever works for you. We want to offer you as much information that helps you as possible. So please reach out to us. Let us know what you need. Let us know what foods you want us to try blending. Let us know if you have questions. We're here to help. We offer a program to help people struggling with swallowing disorders of any kind. You could have any diagnosis that caused you to have a swallowing disorder. We want to help you through your journey. Please get in touch with us. You can schedule a call with us. There should be a button on our Facebook page you can schedule a call, or you can shoot us a text message at 574-475-7285 and let us know what's going on. Otherwise, dysphagiaduo@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Perfect. Thanks, everybody. Kat, dietitian.
Stephanie, speech pathologist.
We are here for you. Please invite us on your journey so that we can make your life just a little bit easier. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.